The Apostle Paul, a man who was so knowledgeable, a man who had been a high-ranking Pharisee, trained by the most famous rabbi of his time, he came to this conclusion with all of his knowledge. He said, I have determined to know nothing among you but Christ and Him crucified. That's where the power is.
Yes.
That is the power of God unto salvation, the word of the cross.
That's right.
That's what the word of God says.
Hallelujah.
Don't get distracted. God has given you power. He has given you incredible power to bring that word of love to a dark, lost, dying world.
Yes. Give them hope. They
Give
have
them
no hope.
A method, a scheme of the devil is to set traps for unwary Christians. Right?
Yes.
That's what it says in Psalm 91, the snare of the trapper, right? Those traps cannot, however, be on the paths of righteousness that the Lord leads us in. Think about this. Psalm 139 verse 5 says, you have enclosed me behind and before and laid your hand upon me.
Surrounded.
Yeah, got your front and back. And then the same thing in Isaiah 52. It says, but you will not go out in haste, nor will you go as fugitives. For the Lord will go before you, and the God of Israel will be your rear guard. God has you covered on that path of righteousness that He leads you in. So the enemy has to tempt us to take our eyes off of Jesus, whom we're following, and look to the left or to the right to see the bait that's set in the trap. Now, we talked about this a little bit last week. How does he know what to bait the trap with? Because it comes out of your mouth. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, right? If the abundance of your heart is basketball or diamonds or whatever, cars, whatever it is, the devil's going, oh, that's... And he'll dangle him. He'll dangle. But he won't dangle him on the path of righteousness. It's got to be off that path. God says, don't turn to the left or right. Let me read that. So you shall observe to do just as the Lord your God has commanded you. You shall not turn aside to the right or to the left. You shall walk in all the way which the Lord your God has commanded you, that you may live, and that it may be well with you, and that you may prolong your days in the land which you will possess. Got to keep your eyes fixed on Him. Don't fall prey to the snare of the trapper. In spite of what many Christians would have you believe, God, who gave us free will, is pro-choice.
That's right.
He just always tells us the right choice to make, right? Think about it, Deuteronomy 30, right? He says, I call heaven and earth to witness against you today that I have set before you life and death, the blessing and the curse. So choose life in order that you may live, you and your descendants. Gives us the choice, tells us the right choice to make. Who is the man who fears the Lord? He will instruct him in the way he should choose. That's what it says in Psalm 25. God will instruct you in the way to choose. Throughout our history, the Lord has placed people, the prophets of old, to call us to that choice, that right choice. And the choice is simply this, the world or the Word.
That's right.
That's the choice. Joshua said, if it is disagreeable in your sight to serve the Lord, choose for yourselves today whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served, which are beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you're living. But as for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. Joshua 24:15. Elijah came near to all the people and said, how long will you hesitate between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow Him. But if Baal, follow him. Right? 1 Kings 18. Elihu in Job, he said, hear my words, you wise men, and listen to me, you who know. For the ear tests words as the palate tastes food. Let us choose for ourselves what is right. Let us know among ourselves what is good. Job 34. Jesus, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever believes in Him shall not perish, but have everlasting life.
Thank you, Lord.
What you believe will determine your choices. What you choose will determine your life. The solution to distraction is to make different choices. Choose to take thoughts captive to the obedience of Christ, rather than let your mind linger on the things of the world. Choose to turn the television off and spend time in the Word. Choose to go and have fellowship with praise and worship rather than go to the basketball or football game. It is all about the choices you make. And I am not afraid to say that to you. I have to say it to me. God has set before us life. He has set before us blessings. If you are not walking in the fullness of that life and in the fullness of His blessings, take some time and examine the choices you're making.
I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. The cross before